I'm going to talk about flax and the industry that I was in my early days. I was born in 1934, and that means I'm now 90 years of age. And most of the people who, when I was 6 years of age, my father was building a mill, and the mill was built by Brown's Foundry, Letterkenny here, who was owned at that time by Woolley Holmes. And the millwright on that occasion was Woolley Hannigan. And Woolley Hannigan was a fairly old man even at that time, but there was also Mc Daid, who was an apprentice in Brown's Foundry, and then there was another man who built Gallagher's, who resurrected Gallagher's new mills there,
Was Brown's
Vincent Collyer.
Was Brown's Foundry from Derry?
Brown's Foundry was in Letterkenny.
But were they from Derry?
Well, originally, I think, yes. It was started off as Brown's, and Woolley Holmes acquired it, you see. And Woolley Hannigan, as I told you, was the millwright who built the water wheel, and the wheel was bought in Fallad. And the entire mill, the facility scotching materials and the rollers and that flax had to be rolled. But I went on then. It started in 1941 or thereabouts. We started scotching, and in the vicinity of Flax, Manor, Connicum, Dromahal, and the surrounding areas, there was numerous mills. There was Leggie's Pluck, all water driven. Patterson's had a mill in Dromahal, which was, at my time at school, it was McBurtie's mill. Tommy McBurtie in Dromahal, his family's living about Letterkenny here, and he ran that mill all the time I was at school. And in a mill there was at least 6, 7 people employed from September until April on the mill.
Yeah.
And the mill produced, scotched the flax and cleaned it. And there was a market in Letterkenny and there was a market in Carrigans. The market in Letterkenny was on a Friday and the market in Carrigans was Thursday. And the flax, the buyers came out there, they came from Belfast. There was a man who came here to Letterkenny called Ernie Gray, who was a very experienced buyer and knew it was a great judge of flax, because there was various qualities of it.
Yeah.
Some of it were short. So watering the flax at the time was pulled greened. It was sowed on a very fine seed bed, and in some cases rolled in. And in some cases it was marked by horses at that time. It was marked by a drill plough. That was the 9-foot ridges that were going to be pulled by hand.
Right.
And if it wasn't marked that way, the men had a long tether, a long tether, and there could have been maybe 20 men or more coming to pull a field of flax, a big field of flax, And every 9 feet there was a ribbon tied or a mark on the tether, and each man held that to his chest, and they walked up the field through the flax, and that was the ridge marked pull.
Right.
9 feet. And after that, it was pulled. And in fact, which also meant what he mentioned, it was the first time a working man in the agricultural operations in the Lagan or anywhere else got £1 a day. £1 a day. And then it was taken in and watered in big ponds, dams it was known as. And it was in there for depending on the temperature, it was in there for, it could have been 12 to 15 days, depending on the temperature.
Aye.
And it had to be tramped, walked on by young people mainly. At that time it was great crack for them, and it was covered in water, and they walked on it, and there were stones on it to keep it down, because it rose up, you see, it floated. But anyway, it had to be taken out then, and everything at that time, and in most cases it was horses and carts that we had operating.
Yeah.
And we were quite young, 12 and 13 there, taking that stuff, carting it out and coping it out, not coping it, but beat after beat was thrown on the ground.
You were very young, Charlie.
10 and 12, you were only at school when there was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
But that's true, and there was three of us at it, like, you know. There was me and Olea brothers deceased, and Liam Gallagher deceased. A fellow was reared with us, and we were able to take that out. And in some cases, we were able to back into the dam to be loaded. In other cases, that had to be thrown out onto the brew because you couldn't let the water off, for it was very poisonous to fish life, you know.
Aye.
And there was plenty of court cases here for people, you know, found it to be letting water go, like, you know, off,
Good.
which was illegal, very much so. But anyway, it went on that then was spread. That the women came along, and the big beat was a big lift, you know.
Yeah.
But mostly women. A lot of women that from around Rye, and that Bella Crawford, Bella Stevenson, and Mrs. Doherty there, and Sever and Nellie Devaney, and people about the area got £1 a day too for spreading flax, for spreading, and dear bought it was to cook, you know, because you had to spread on and be able to do as much as men there that were doing that same job, you know.
What many hours in a day did you, or the women, what many hours would you work in a day, Charlie?
Well, that was from, they would have started there, you know, at around about 8 o'clock in the morning to work. Yeah. And they would have worked there at least 6 o'clock with an hour or so, a few break for a bit of food and that, you know. Yes. But that they also got £1 a day. And that lint was spread out, each beat, or a bundle of flax was known as a beat. Yeah. And when it was being pulled, when it was due to be pulled and harvested, some families there would have, after their work, would have come and pulled by the beat, a penny a beat. Right. And they could have brought cubs with them there, were able to pull as well, you know. Yeah. But it had to be done tidily, and it had to be done, the beat had to be a certain size, you know. Aye. And that was a penny a beat. There were all kinds of clients out in the evenings there, you know. Aye. But after it had been taken out and spread, then it had to be lifted and prepared and stuck to dry thoroughly. Aye. And then it was tied in a bundle, another beat of white. It was the colour of that then, white. Yeah. And that was a job for cubs of fellas. Yeah. They got a few pounds for, or a few shillings. Aye. For tying it up? For lifting it up. Yeah. No, they just had what you call lifting hooks. Yeah. They lifted it off the ground with a bent hook or a bucket handles and things. Yeah. Aye. And that was set aside, and the men came along and teased it and then stuck it, set it up. Yeah. Before it was tied, then officially, finally. Aye. And in the final analysis, it was shigged. What we call shigged. Aye. We carried on the cubs, carried the flax on, and professional men built this shig, you know. Aye. and it sat there to whatever time it was put into the mill. But that's the workings of it. Now, the mill itself, well, scotching was a dangerous profession, you know that.
Yeah.
Very few men got through that would not have a finger.
Yeah.
Broken at least. A chap, they called it. I've seen most of the Scotchers there maybe had a broken finger, you know. And there was people, you see, who professed in this particular profession.
Yeah.
And in our vicinity, in the Manor, Cunningham and Dromore, and that Lagan area there, O'Donnell's were professional Scotchers. They lived up in Lislamberty. There were 7 brothers then. And they were my father's uncles there, you know.
Yeah.
And there were 7 brothers of them. And their house was demolished there recently, which was really not too well taken, but nevertheless, that's irrelevant. The other people who did the same thing in the vicinity were people in Dromore Quins,
Yeah.
Tourishes. They were all Scotchers.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the roll book there, and you would have seen where the children were entered in the school roll book, and the father Scotcher. And that was, and this vicinity here now, Letterkenny and the vicinity of Letterkenny here, and up by the Stallion, or no, not the Stallion, Kildays, Correna.
Correct. Aye.
Yes,
Kildays, aye.
Kildays were also Scotchers.
Big family. Kildays,
Aye,
aye.
yes, aye. Aye.
Well, see, when you got that done, Charlie, and you sent it to the mill, where did that go then?
That flax was taken to the market
Yeah.
in Letterkenny or Carrigans, depending on where you lived, what was convenient for the flax owner.
Yeah.
The mill owner was responsible for that, taking it to the market,
Yeah.
and fighting for a grade, which was, you know, because the buyer naturally would have tried to buy it for less than maybe it was its value.
Aye.
So a mill owner had to know what he was doing and be able to demonstrate to the buyers,
Yeah.
you know, that the quality. I was able to open out what was called a strike of flax. A
Yeah.
strike of flax. They were able to hold it out and let them see how it was done and how it was scotched and how it was cleaned.
Yeah.
The bone that was in the fibre had to be taken out, and there was in the mill there was 2 kinds of refuge. There was shows. If ever you heard tell them, I'm sure you didn't, but that was the refuse from the Scotch.
Yeah.
That was one of the. And then there was what they called tow.
Yeah.
And that tow had to be shook out and taken out. And when the flax scotching season was over, that tow was scotched.
Yeah.
And that belonged to the mill owner.
Yeah.
And it was a good enough wee bonus at the end of the year for him, like, you know.
Yeah. Would be, aye.
And
Did they send that stuff to different parts of the world, or?
well, I'll tell you what it was. I'm talking, you see, I remember the war, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember the war ending.
44, 48, was it?
Well, what can I can't.
45.
Eh? I do remember going and telling my father in the month of May, I think it was. My mother sent me with a bottle of tea to where he was working
Right.
in a field with potatoes, and to be able to tell him I was listening to the radio. That time it was wet battery and a dry battery.
Yeah.
And I was able to go and tell him the war was just over there.
Yeah.
It had been declared.
That was great news.
It was, some cases it wasn't that beneficial to the flax business
No.
because parachutes and that.
Yeah.
Linen was a very strong material,
Yeah.
and it did several jobs throughout the war.
Yeah.
And once that ended, the flax declined very
Right.
much after that.
So was there no trade for then, Charlie?
No, I remember the last flax we grew, it never was sold. Some it for thatch, maybe, yes.
What year was that roughly, Charlie?
What would I say? I would have been 15 or 16, yes,
Right.
years of age.
Yeah.
And I was born in 34, 10's 44, and 5, 50s.
The 50s.
Going into the 50s, yes. Yeah.
So it
But
was good to see the war over, but
Aye, it
Didn't
was
have
good
the flax in it.
from a human end, but it had its deficiencies as well,
Yeah.
And well, the refuse from the flax scutcheon was in great demand because people burned it.
yeah.
Those fires, what they called show fires.
Aye.
And a show fire was put on in an open fireplace generally, and you had what you call kill sticks. A fire of shows was known as a kill of shows or a kiln, KLN. Aye, and you built tramped the shows on round the kill sticks, and then you withdrew the kill sticks, put a match there, and then you that lit. Because that was it was very hard to keep them all
Yeah.
going on fire. You're very given to that, Aye.
Well, would that fire last for long, Charlie?
That fire there, if it was put on properly,
Yeah.
would do most of the day.
Oh.
The one fire, yes,
Yeah.
aye. But it had its disadvantages
Right.
in that there was a bit of a different kind of a smell in the house where the fire show
Oh,
fire.
right, aye.
But people didn't mind that so long as they
Yeah.
hadn't to go for another with a coal or that,
No.
you see.
But
You
it
know.
was amazing as a young lad, like, say 10 or 11, you started doing that?
Oh, aye, we did surely. Oh, we did, aye. And then my brother Willie went on to become a scotcher.
Aye.
I never did because they kind of thought I went into the agriculture land,
Yeah.
ploughing and that, and farm, the horses and that,
Aye.
And, but I can go on to tell you that a yield from a good acre of flax, Scotch flax, and ready for the market here, could have reached 800 weight of Scotch flax. And if it graded well, it was worth at least maybe £16 a hundred.
Big money then?
And that was 8 tens is 80 and 8 sixes is 48. Isn't that right? 8 sixes are 6 8's 48. Aye. That was what does that amount to? Very 8 tens is 80 and it's 120 or 30 pound per
He was a good one.
per. That's
Bridget,
off an
wasn't he?
acre per acre. Eh?
You're a great man.
Why?
Saying to Bridget, you're a great man, Charlie. Starting work at 10 or 11, like.
Oh, God save us, aye.
And there were nothing easy in them.
No,
flats.
no, I mean, I would have walked in here from 9 and 10 years of age from my home to the cow market and up there, and with my cattle for my father,
Aye.
Listen, James, good to see you and Annie. And living out here in Knockinamoona, a lovely house and a lovely area. So I wonder, James, could you tell us a bit about when you lived on the main street in Letterkenny?
It was a great place to live in. You had the Duffys, you had the Peopleses, and you had the McLaughlins, you had the Duffys, you had the other Duffys, John Duffy,
Aye.
being him runabouts from over 18 till he went to America. We had great times. There weren't much money going around.
No.
You were gathering you were getting bottles, bought beer bottles and stout bottles and taking them up to Jim Fox.
Aye.
And no, until now, Mickey Houston.
Aye.
We used to sell them to him and we got so much for them. And
Yes.
polish boxes, you sold them to a man in the market square.
Aye.
And a fair day or, you know,
Aye.
stuff like that. And
But what I remember of your family, you were a plaster, James.
Aye,
And Terence, God rest him,
Aye, Terence.
Terence was a plumber.
a plumber.
Aye. And Robert was a plaster
Right.
too.
Plaster.
Aye.
Still going.
So all your family was under the building.
We're all in the building.
Aye.
We all worked with father from we left school.
Aye.
He was a great man to work to, like, he was a very smart man
Aye.
off his day, like.
Aye.
But be different now.
Yeah.
Be different now because it's all high-tech stuff and all this. You know, John?
Yeah, but you all had a trade, like.
Oh, we all had a trade. You
Yeah.
could build, you could plaster, you could paint. You know, you went to everything.
I've got an old photograph, James, and beside Clark's shop now, that's where you lived.
Aye.
Yes. Yes.
And in the old photograph, you can make it out. It says Johnston Builders.
Aye.
Oh, aye.
That was written above
Aye,
That
well,
was
yes.
written
the
above.
whole place.
Contractor.
Aye.
That's
I
right.
used to, my father used to let rooms out, maybe I'm going back a quarter, but when Francie Callan had a saddling shop in it for the time the horses were ploughing and stuff like that.
Aye.
Yes, no, they do yesterday.
Oh, that's a long time. Francie Callan.
The Goller girl, she had a hairdressing saloon on it.
Aye.
You know
Sally,
the Gollers in the back
Sally
road?
Goller.
Sally Goller,
Aye.
aye.
yes.
Sally.
Hairdressing salon.
She had a hairdressing
And
business.
Marie
Aye,
Margaret
she had a
Crawford.
hairdressing saloon on it.
Marie Margaret Crawford had a sewing room.
Man, Margaret
She
Clark
used to
from
do
Glen Carr.
Aye, Margaret
Crawford's Glen Carr.
Aye.
Crawford.
Oh, Sean Crawford.
Aye.
I think her sister's
He's
still
gone.
alive
I
there.
can't remember that they had the sewing machine like a tailor, like.
Aye,
Oh, aye, she
Same
did
thing,
sewing.
same
Yes, yes.
same thing.
But you must have good old crack, James, growing up, you know.
Ah, it was great. And then you had Helford, the shoemaker, where Conal Carberry used to work.
Aye.
He used to do a lot of fishing and they gave us big fishing rods, John Duffy and me, yeah?
Aye.
Big planks they were. You had Davy Wallace.
Aye.
He had a foundry. He made sockets for ploughs for horses. John and I used to go down and give him a hand, like, and I'm telling you.
Where was that foundry in, James?
I just mind the old brew office
Aye.
down in there.
I was thinking I heard about that.
And
The bird.
there used to be a lovely wee house at the bottom of it,
Aye.
and that was Davy's house.
Aye.
Davy lived there. He was from Dunfanny.
Aye.
He lived at a big house as you get into Dunfanny, sitting up on the side of the hill. And what's it, Davy Wallace, I think they called him. He used to give us a couple of bob and help him out and one van, and we done more things than enough. And then you had McKay's, you went on down, you had the barrack, Sergeant McDaid, and
Right.
used to get him rabbits, ferreting, Gracie's greyhound,
Aye.
and
He had, sorry, James, he had greyhounds, did you say?
hey,
Sergeant McGee,
Aye.
had he greyhounds?
she had Sergeant McDaid at greyhounds, and we had big lurchers then, or half-bred lurchers. In fact, it was Sergeant McDaid gave us an old bits, and we made Horway sheepdog, and we got great rabbiting dogs in her.
Aye.
But then you had McAharan. He was the cruelty man then.
Aye.
He used to take the animals down and shoot them down the canal road, or I don't know, I'll carry on then.
Well, he was still in the yards at this time.
He was still in the yards, and then you had McCall's pub, and you had the Philly.
Aye. The blacksmith. Aye.
Oh, Jesus, it was true. He was some charge.
But just below you said where the foundry was, Pierce McMenamin lived around
Pierce
there.
lived there. Pierce lived there. You had the two Bensons that stayed with Kitty McMenamin.
Aye.
She had a guest house below where Gary Sadler lived.
Aye.
That was up near the old CYMS,
CYMS,
some
aye.
Catholics Association hall.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be queer crack in there.
Aye. So you had the Crumleys was them down there as well.
Aye, the Cromwiches, and then you had what do you call him there? Bump Coyle.
Aye.
He lived in an old shack a house.
Aye.
I don't know how he lived in Manor, to tell you the truth.
But you know, when you were growing up too, you know, you were saying earlier, you know, you was all friends, you had friends in Ballymacool and the
Aye.
back road in the old town.
Anybody you met, you meet anybody now, it's like they come out of space. I
Aye.
would put it.
Aye.
You don't know them, like.
Aye.
But when I was been reared and you met people, like we worked on all the roofs in Letterkenny, every roof in Letterkenny at that time.
Aye.
After a while, we fixed roofs and stuff
Aye.
like that, and you got to know people. You never turn your back on them.
And there were some high buildings in the town, James.
Yeah, there's some high buildings in, and
Would you have done the slits and the ridge tiles and things like that?
yeah, and we had to carry the ladders.
How
Like
did you
wooden ladders, not the aluminium things you have now.
We like things now.
Can you imagine? Where what do you call that bank beside the Market Square?
The Ulster Bank or
The Ulster Bank.
the Head Bank of Ireland.
No, further up the Bank of Ireland.
Aye.
I mean, Kenneth Curry had electric shop there,
Aye.
and you had Kenneth Curry's shop where they're renovating the bank now.
Aye.
Kenneth was a smart man. He had a house down in the Port Road as well.
Aye.
Right.
His father was a nice man.
His
But
wife's
you
still
had to
there.
put 3 big ladders up to that, and it was higher at the back, Johnny.
There was a drop at the back, wasn't there?
Aye, so
Aye.
it dropped out. And
Aye.
you know who used to, what do you call him, had the hearse there?
McGovern.
No. There's some
McFadden.
McFadden's.
Aye.
What do you call him? Used to drive the 2 big black horses, 4
Was he?
black horses.
Was he crossing?
Eddie Crossing.
Aye.
Very good.
You and I can still see that man coming up and going down that town. And you know one thing I hate, what this council done, and they're still doing it, is the Market Square.
Aye.
The Market Square is nothing to me now. I've just walked past it. I can't look at it
Aye.
because you had faces in it,
All changed.
you had elections.
Aye.
You mind yourself, like you had them canvassing from the backs of lorries and stuff
Aye.
like that.
That's right.
And
Aye.
look at it now. That's
Aye.
when they kept for drugs.
That's all. Aye.
There were lovely wee canteen in it and toilets. Where do you go now? You can't let a kid to get a toilet.
Yeah.
And you know,
No
it's
toilet.
ridiculous at that day and age.
Courtyard.
Well, there are a place down in Clonmany and Inishowen,
Yeah.
and the festival is down there.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Kathleen was down a couple of years ago,
Yes.
and we couldn't believe it. The Market Square that's down there, it can hold about 2,000 people.
Aye.
When them bands come and play music,
Uh-huh.
they have nothing.
No.
It's cleared.
All right.
And if anybody's going to give a talk or
Mm-hmm.
collect money or anything, get a big open space.
Like open space.
And they set a stage up, like,
Right.
and we couldn't get 100 people to Market Square.
No.
You needed an open space
Aye.
in the Market Square.
Aye.
Where the buses used to be.
Aye.
There was an empty there and
Aye.
round there, and the train come on
Aye.
out there, down there, and John Duffy and me at Dogtown Bridge, and our Iron Bridge is still there.
Aye, that's
John Duffy and me he was one end and I was at the other. And the train, we thought it was going by big wild fast,
right.
but we could have run harder, like, you know.
Did they close the gates at that time at the Old Town Bridge when the train was coming
Aye.
through?
They and Mrs. Fisher,
Aye.
Victor and Carl,
They're about
Um,
laid up too.
and Victor, Carl, no, Victor. He's in bed now, he's lost a pair of his legs, the critter.
Ah, poor Victor.
We're back to.
And,
Nice critter, Victor.
Aye.
oh, it's not the same
Not
time.
the same type.
But you had the McDaids and you had the Dailies and you had
Aye.
the McGranahans.
Aye.
And then you had the Dailies on the other side and Restrucken and Busty. Miss Busty.
Aye.
Miss Busty were working at washing machines and things like that.
Ah, poor Busty. Civil critter.
What
Right.
is civil critter? So.
Remember you're on about Terry Benson?
Aye, Terry Benson.
Terry's
Well,
dead now.
Terry, aye.
Aye.
But I think it was 2012 or 2015, Terry was at the Letterkenny reunion.
Aye.
And I got talking to him, and a well nice man. So he was telling me about living across the road. He says, I lived across the road from the Johnsons.
He used to come out here, so we did.
He knew yous all, like,
No.
but he was telling me a good, and he says that he was coming out one evening, anyhow, and he was all dressed up, shirt and tie, and we were going dancing. I think it might have been down to the Devlin.
Oh, there one.
Yes.
But he says, these boys, he thought they were from Glen Swilly, but he says they came down the town, 3 of them, and they had cowboy hats on them.
Oh, jeez.
And just at Kitty McMenamin's there, they started to push him up against the wall.
Right.
And Terry says, you know, he was never into fighting or nothing like that, but
Oh,
they didn't hit him, but they were pushing him against the wall. And the next thing he says, who come across the road with a frying pan, he says, was Mrs. Johnson.
I'm
And
sure.
get the F and
His
leave
mother.
the young fella alone.
Oh my God.
And he said, you know, when he kind of got together a wee
He
bit,
did
but
know that.
he was frightened, James.
Mm.
You know, it was, he just walked out of the house and
I
these
know.
3 boys stuck him to the wall.
I stuck into the wall.
And he said he could picture your mother coming across the road. He says, low set
my
woman
God.
with glasses.
Well,
And
that's a
she
good
says,
one.
get to F.
Wow.
And the boys away down the street. Like. you know.
Jeez. Well,
Aye.
imagine.
But I think he said now that then your mother took him over to the house then, you know, till he got a wee bit settled.
You see, him and the brother come here, John. John didn't like it here.
Aye.
They were living on the, since,
Robert
Terry's
Jerry
mother was
Blackburn.
a sister of Kitty's.
Aye.
Oh, I think it was Kitty they called it anyway, went home. John didn't like it and John left. John's dead and Terry's dead.
Aye.
Mm.
The biggest majority of the Duffys is all gone.
Aye.
The Duffys at the foot of the town's all gone.
Yeah.
The Keys. The Keys.
God, Annette was a nice woman.
Well, she was.
Used to work for Annette too.
Aye, that's right.
So,
Annette.
okay. But Terry said that him and Andy McGrannan used to go down and clean the Devlin Hall on the day there was a dance, and they got in free then.
Ah,
You know.
They got
it wasn't much to get in.
No.
It wasn't much to get in.
But you know who was asking for you, James?
Sorry.
Asking for Robert as well. Father Hugh Duffy.
Okay, Father Duffy.
You were Duffy, yeah, you.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye. He was telling me, you know, he says, you know, he says, we're from the Wallsteads.
Aye, the Wallsteads.
That's what he called them.
Wallsteads,
Aye.
wasn't it?
And he's Florida, and I phone him there now and again, or he would phone me,
Aye,
and he's doing a book.
right,
He's writing a book, you know.
yes.
But he always says, you know, the Johnsons were lovely neighbours, he says, you know.
Right.
And he says, yes, we're very good neighbours too. Everybody got on well with each other.
But you, Johnny, at that time, as Johnny Divers used to me, James, there were only 12 cars in Letterkenny Street then.
Aye.
You know, and I mind, was it Hugo? No, not Hugo. The youngest boy, what's it called, the youngest boy in that office?
I don't know.
But anyway, he was over at the house anyway, and I went out the door to him and out the door, and the next thing he jumped over the wall, made a wee wall run.
Aye.
And he was running that hard, and I don't know how the car had to be coming down the street at the same time, but he run onto the fucking side of the car. But never done him no harm.
Never
like,
done him no
I
harm.
run out and never on myself, and I was saying to him, and gone. No.
Well, Hugo's doing a book. He's writing a book.
Uh,
What is it?
Aye. And do you know who's doing a bit in the book for him? A film star by the name of Martin Sheen.
I don't know.
And Martin Sheen had a son by the name of Charlie Sheen.
Right.
And Father Duffy says, you talk about the prodigal son. Charlie Sheen was very heavy into drink and drugs.
Right.
But they all kind of disowned him. They
Yes.
didn't bother about him. But the father, this Martin Sheen, he stayed with him through thick and thin.
Yes.
But Hugo says he's all right now. He's off drugs, off a drink, but he's still a wee bit affected, like. But he's getting better every day, like,
Right.
you know. So I was wondering what the connection was, Jim. But this Martin Sheen, he says, his mother was in Tipperary,
Right.
and that's kind of. And then I think one time Father Duffy was getting someone down to the church, and he came and gave him a bit of support.
I mind
drawers.
that time he was asking me, would I go down and plaster for him?
Right, okay.
And I said, no.
But he's good crack about the Wallsteads, like, you know.
Aye, there the wall stood on the Gary Sadler. He used to stand there on the close above the cooperatives. Now the
Aye.
cooperative was going.
Aye.
And I used to watch the boys putting on a penny to get into Fox's pub.
Aye.
And you'd put the penny on the door and there the ratlet. They went up round the back and they got on the back and Sadler used to catch some of them on it. No, I thought it was a stupid old house.
That was a wee code he just had to get in. Dropping the pennies in.
Tapping the penny on.
Aye.
And Billy,
Aye. Aye.
your Uncle Billy,
Aye.
used to couch sand from my father. The lorry load of sand was dumped out in the main street and me and Billy filled it.
Aye.
Jerked them up on the back and emptied it. No. Do you mean the two McGrannans had a taxi beside Duffy's butcher shop? Between you mind the petrol pumps. As you went down the alley lane, you had the petrol pumps, you had the McGrannans, you had the Duffys, and you had the other pub above it. I mind them.
No, I don't remember that. Mate.
Aye, there were two McGrannans. They had a taxi, a car.
Aye.
They
Was
used
that
to-
Lower Main Street?
That's in the Lower Main Street.
Was that beside Joey Blake's shop?
Beside Blake's petrol pumps. You mean?
Blake's at the back.
Beside it, it's just up. And then you had Duffy's Gateway.
I'll go down
And
to-
they had a slaughterhouse at the back, Duffy's. They done all the
Aye.
killing.
Aye.
What do you call them?
Down Larkin's Lane, was it?
Well, you could go down Larkin's Lane or you can run Duffy's Gate.
Aye.
You know, the house. It's-
I remember doing the house up one time for Annette.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
She had I thought it was like a buyer out the back,
Aye,
but she said that was like a butcher shop.
that's the butcher shop.
Aye.
That was the butcher shop out the front. And they done all the slaughtering of cattle and stuff like that.
Aye.
I mind working with, what did he call Ben's uncle from Monaghan. He was a top butcher then. He was baldy headed, but he was a good man with a knife and all,
Aye.
skinning and stuff like that. I used to get,
Ben don't leave his wife,
Ben's wife, she was from Monaghan.
or father, or what?
Or father, I forget this what they call him. But I should know them, but when you get out, you get.
I forget.
It's hard. The things comes into my mind like, but you can't follow up.
Aye.
You know, you can get bits and pieces of it, Johnny,
Aye.
but you can't get the full story, like
Aye.
you know,
Mm.
because it's having about 60, 70, really fucking 80 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time now.
It's a long time.
What about the dolphin or the mistletoe?
The mistletoe,
Aye.
the dolphin.
Would
The
you and Annie,
dolphin, that's where we ended up.
was you and Annie used to
Aye.
go into the mistletoe? didn't you?
Aye,
That's where we used to
that's
go
right.
to. So,
Used to go to the pictures too, as well.
you know, me and Johnny, what do you call him? Oh, you mind the fella killed the young fella out at park, them houses up at the park. What did you call him? McDaid. What did he? Alec.
Aye.
Alec
Alec.
had a brother, John.
Aye.
Me and him used to run about together. Oh, Jesus, he was a car. We were stuffing the wheels of the car. We grassed to get home at night. We got a flat tire with no stuff, and there you were running, you're bouncing along the road.
Aye.
It was so handsome.
But it was good crack too, wasn't it?
Ah,
Some
but
kind.
we never done nobody no harm.
No, that's the way it was. Nobody done anybody,
No.
you know.
Kathleen, good to meet you again. It's a long time since I've
It was
seen you.
nice to meet you too. I remember you when you were a little boy down the bottom of the town.
That's right.
When I was in the foundry down Lower Main Street.
You have a good memory.
Right.
Well, what part of the town were you from?
I'm from Ballerina, Outport,
Aye.
Ballerina.
I know out the port, aye. As I was saying,
I have I was a very funny accent because there used to be a lady come out to our house every weekend from Derry.
aye.
She had a Derry accent.
Oh,
And I was a very slow child, learning stuff.
Aye.
And she was trying to learn me to say some words, and I was following her speaks
Aye.
the way she talks and a dairy accent.
The dairy, aye. The dairy twang, aye. Well, what was your memories of growing up in Letterkenny?
Eh?
What was your memories growing
My
up?
name,
What was your memories of growing up in Letterkenny?
well, I didn't know, I didn't have very much, a lot to do, only keep about the house.
Aye.
Like to walk around,
Aye.
down the lane, up and down the road. There was no cars and no knocking at them
No.
days, Janet, when I
No.
was born. I'm 88. I'm 88 now. And I was born in August, 7th of August. But when I was very young, the time my father passed away,
Aye.
he was on the railway.
Aye.
And I always remember the trains going past the house, going
Aye.
to Strabane and going
Aye.
to Derry.
Aye.
Like, not there, going to Strabane and going to Bunford,
Aye.
down that way.
Right.
And there was so many lines.
Aye.
And at the post brights down at that, and railway tracks,
Aye.
different
All different railway tracks.
going different tracks, different trains go. I remember all that, and we weren't allowed to go out near the food break to play anyway,
Aye.
near the port,
Aye.
because they had pillars and along from the port break was very narrow then at that time.
Aye.
Like it was a small,
Aye. It was small.
big breaks going over
Yeah.
out the day road.
Yeah.
But there were chains, steel chains on the end of the port
Right.
where the boats come in.
Okay. Aye. The boat. Aye.
The boats used to
So
come
there
up
was.
for that.
Aye.
Like, yeah.
Well, Kelly, was that your brother, Patsy Galler?
And he wouldn't the railway. He took
He was a
He
driver.
went to start to work in the railway. He was very young when I was only about 3,
Aye.
for going on 4,
Aye.
when he passed away.
Right.
And I didn't remember much. I remember my father that day going back to work in a hurry, like,
Aye.
and my mother was waiting for him to come home for his lunch.
Aye.
And I got all silent, but then the train came back, so I wondered why the train was back so early.
Aye.
Same with us acting happened up in Glenmacquin,
Aye. I know where Glen McCon is, aye.
the train.
Aye.
Whatever happened, the train broke down up in Glenmacquin.
Aye.
And they were bringing it back to Letterkenny, some of the wagons back into Letterkenny station.
Aye.
That's all I know. And then my father went back to work after being out for his lunch. Yeah. And he went back to his work and that. He went back to work anyway, and I couldn't understand what happened then
Yeah.
because there were so many people coming to 3 men, masters, station men, well dressed with black coats and black caps like
Aye.
that, to tell me mother the news about me father.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sad too.
And I don't remember much then about anything. I didn't know what was going on.
Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you were young at the time.
Hey?
You were young at that time.
Aye, because, and everybody was so upset. So, then I was put down to the bottom of the town to my granny's down Lower Main Street.
Aye.
There was toners left across the road from us.
Was that Jim Toner? The insurance man?
No, not insurance man, no, he was toner.
Aye.
With my, and a wee house. But Sam Rosen had a cold cellar.
Okay.
And then Sam Rosen had a big red coat set there
Yeah,
and different things in it.
that's right. He had a
And Lloyd's going in and out too.
Yeah.
And then Toner's was next to that.
aye. I think that man was Jim Turner too, and I think he worked in Kelly's Mill, did he?
I don't know what he did,
I think that was a man. I'm not too sure now, but I think that was him.
but he was
So
a Canada.
Ronson's had the shop, and then they had a coal shop on the other side of the road. Coal yard.
Oh, yeah.
Aye.
That was Kelly's.
Was it?
Kelly's, A.D. Kelly's.
Aye.
Aye. Then go with the Toners. Toners used to keep a lot of
Goats.
goats.
Jeez.
And
Down.
we call him Johnny. He was Johnny,
Aye.
and she was Rosie.
Right.
Johnny and Rosie.
Aye.
And you would ask me what could I do when I was passing the time when after the holiday.
Aye.
I would go with to see Rosie and Johnny and
Aye.
the goats. Pass the time back to the house.
Aye, but
again.
a crack, Kelly.
Aye. And my mother be helping them out if anything went wrong or if anything wrong with her. And I don't know where that day, I don't know where it was sent down to my granny's or sent over to Rosie and Johnny.
Aye.
And my father was killed.
Aye.
That one got, my mother got bad news that
Aye.
day about
Aye.
my father.
That was sad too.
And I seen nobody but people coming, I don't know,
Yeah.
coming to mother's house.
Coming to your mother's house.
Aye.
Well, you see, Patsy.
And I never know much after that about what happened then after my father.
But you see, your brother, Patsy.
My brother Patsy was the only one, he was the oldest.
He was the oldest.
He was the oldest. And then John was next to
Patsy, he emigrated to America, did he?
Patsy left. But my Patsy, my brother,
Aye.
when he drove the last train from Letterkenny to Staban.
Right.
He was the Staban,
Aye.
like, you know.
Aye. So he drove the last train.
Aye. And the train was left in Staban. The
Aye.
engine.
The engine was left in Strabane.
But then it seemed to me when he came over from America and all this, he would go around to check up about the train engine he used to drive.
Aye.
But then it seems that engine went to Derry.
Aye. So that's where the engine,
They wanted to bring it back to Letterkenny.
and they didn't, and they
Yeah.
took it to Derry instead.
Aye.
That would be right enough.
Then it was to come back to Letterkenny.
Aye.
But it didn't come to Letterkenny.
Aye.
The scheme did have sent it to Derry to get it done up.
Aye.
But it's still there.
It never came back. Still there, you think?
I don't know if it's still there or not.
Aye. Oh, they probably restored it. They done it up, I would say, the Derry people.
Hmm.
The Derry people would have probably done it up,
I
Kelly.
don't know. I couldn't tell you.
So, your brother Patsy was here in 1980 something, wasn't he?
Aye.
Aye.
Did he see something?
I think it was someone in 80.
The son
Aye.
Joe got married in 19. My mother died in 1957.
Aye.
In 1959 I got married.
You got married in 1950.
Aye.
Aye. So-
And then Patsy was still in the way with him at that
He
time.
was still working that time.
Aye. And it must have been a 2-3 years after that
Aye.
that he left the way.
Aye.
That's all I can remember.
Well, Kelly, when you and Joe got married, God rest Joe, was he already, had he already the foundry at that time? And Letterkenny?
So Joe,
Aye. You and Joe lived in a house in the foundry
that's right.
in Letterkenny?
That's right. Down low and
Aye.
for the foundry yard.
The foundry yard, aye.
You had to get in the gate and then get up the steps.
That's right, aye.
But before that, was people that were way back years before us,
Aye.
and it seems it was and sold gas.
Yeah.
Ruth or something.
Sean Ruth from the High Road. He had a chemist shop on the High Road.
That's right.
Aye.
Ah,
Well, he was
I think they were on it for.
a manager of Brown's Foundry,
Yeah.
and then you and Joe moved in
The
then.
foundry belonged to Browns and Derry.
That's right. Aye.
There.
Aye.
And then Harry Tully took it over.
Aye.
Harry Tully was at the foundry.
Aye.
When Joe took it over from him,
Aye. So Paddy rented out the foundry from Brown's, but Joe he bought the
Joe
foundry.
went to Harry Tully's and he got the deeds. He got the deeds
Aye. Of
Paddy
Paddy.
Tully.
Aye.
And then he got it from
Aye.
the people
Aye.
from Derry.
Aye. But I'll tell you, it was a real thriving business, wasn't it?
Hmm?
It was a big business,
Oh,
the
it
foundry, wasn't it?
Well, there were a lot of people trying to get it going
Aye.
at the foundry down the bottom of town.
Aye.
Joe was staying in Letterkenny from
Aye.
Barbara Fay, but Jim Carey organized on.
Aye.
You know, Jim
I know, Jim, beside the old tech.
Aye, and Hammer.
Aye.
Like, you know.
Do you remember Packy McHugh from the old town?
He,
Packy McHugh.
aye, it is that.
He
used
worked
to sell
for
the gold.
Aye.
Aye. You know, anybody was on him looking for a wee bag of gold,
That's right.
he would
Aye.
get paid for it.
Half a crown. Them was the good days, Kelly.
Aye,
Aye.
like, you know.
Aye. Half a crown for a wee bag of
That's
gold.
right.
Aye.
And all the boys up the back road, the duckies and all that,
Aye.
they all come down the back road when the snow's on
Aye.
and they run under the foundry wall.
But you know, I was slaying.
Aye.
I'm saying, but you know, Joe got some. He built a great business there, didn't he?
That's
He built it from nothing, really. You
He
know,
brought it back. He got the foundry going.
got it going.
Started off, the first thing was the hay sheds
Aye,
for the farmers,
aye,
putting up the girders
aye.
for the hay sheds.
Put that up, aye.
That's the first job he got done.
Started doing that, aye.
Aye,
Yeah, but he was a good welder and all, like.
he was.
Yeah,
He worked very hard.
yeah, it was hard
And he
work.
was very good at training people
Aye,
how to work.
aye. I know boys around the town, that was Packy McHugh. There was another fellow worked with him, Dickie McGranahan.
And Dickie McGrannon worked
Aye.
there too. And Occa was different then.
Aye,
And there was McGinley's out from Henry McGinley down from Milford. They would
down the
come.
Milford area.
Aye,
the
they would
McGinleys.
come.
Aye.
There were different men there working.
Kelly,
And then there was Joe's brothers were there, Jim, and there was another brother, Jim.
Patrick was there.
And it was Patrick,
Aye,
aye, and Jim.
aye,
They would come down from Ballybofey to work with him,
aye,
you know.
They would,
Joe's father had the forge in Ballybofey,
aye,
and he wanted Joe to take that forge up at Ballybofey, you know,
Aye.
to see the horses and
Aye.
that, like, you know.
Aye.
But,
But Joe done well because he took a chance come to Letterkenny, like.
mhm. That's only for me, I brought him to Letterkenny.
Ah, fair lady, Kelly. You took him away from Ballybofey.
Let's see.
I must tell that to
I
Anne
would say
Marie.
that is don't put it wouldn't be Letterkenny, would be for me.
I must tell that to Anne Marie.
Eh?
I'll tell that to Anne Marie.
Well, she knows that like that.
Kelly, what did you think of that? The fella,
Because,
you knew the blacksmith
because
across
he-
the road?
I used to work in Old Fields,
Aye,
and I used to go to work. I had to be called on every Saturday morning for 9 o'clock to 12. Joe Harrison was my boss at that time,
aye,
and Old Fields,
aye.
and what do you call him? Oh, whoever else. Anyway,
Tom-
I was
was he
called
Tommy
on Old
Dobson?
Fields every Tuesday.
Was he Tommy
Aye.
Dobson?
Tommy Dobson.
Aye,
Tommy Dobson, you got it.
yeah,
And the mechanics and stuff.
Mechanics,
Right.
Aye.
And I had to polish all the machines.
aye,
You know, to dry them out
aye,
with very soft paper have them all ready for the workers for
Aye.
the morning. Burned it up in the sun.
Poor Bernadette, aye.
Aye. And that, Elizabeth,
Aye.
Elizabeth Fisher,
Aye.
over,
Isabel Fisher, aye.
aye.
God, both of them
Who's
are
wrong,
dead,
yeah.
Kelly.
Aye.
Them people are dead now, God rest
Oh,
them.
God, said I couldn't believe they burned it for the way so far.
Aye.
And I'm still here.
How did you meet Joe? Did you dance in the Devlin Hall or what? Or?
Joe used to have me get on the post road, go to my work on
Oh.
Saturday morning, but he'd be going to bed for 5.
Right,
He
aye.
goes up home. And then he offered me one day, fella, and I said, I don't have a habit of going with any strangers
Right.
or passing. Like I wouldn't go with you.
You wouldn't go with it?
No.
Yeah.
And then I went in, and my mother passed away then.
Aye.
And she died in 1957. Aye. And sudden, like it was
Aye.
sudden a heart attack on a Sunday. And I didn't go out the house for months after my mother died.
Aye.
Like, you know.
Aye.
And I didn't see, I wasn't back at work for a while or I'd give me time off.
Aye.
And we Jean Mullins out so Mullins out
Bonnie, aye. Jean Mung, aye.
Aye. And she came in this one day to see me. Like you and me go to the Devon Hall and
Aye.
And I said, God, I would but she's saying yes and to go
Aye.
to Devon Hall, like, you know,
Aye.
after mother. Then it's all said, we're half saying at that time.
Perhaps, aye.
And I got in and I met him. That's how we met.
That's how you started going out. Thanks very much.
But
you're ready to stay?
have a cup of tea.
And it was great talking to you, Kelly.
Wait a minute. Something talk to Mum you said
Right,
tonight.
you sure
Sit
not?
there and I'd make you a cup of tea.
Aye, okay, Kelly.
All right. Okay.
This is Rebecca McNamee and Eunan McNamee, and he's related to Neil McNamee,
That's right.
who was on the Titanic.
Yeah.
How many years ago was that roughly, Rebecca?
That was in 1912. So the Titanic left
Yeah.
Southampton, and in actual fact that was on the 10th of April in 1912. And the price of their ticket was 16 shillings and £16 2 shillings. But unfortunately it went down on the 15th of April, and that was in 1912. But Neil and Eileen, so Neil married Eileen, Eileen O'Leary was her name. Neil was the son of William McNamee, and his mother was Catherine Gordon. So he was born the 29th of August in 1884, and that was in Risky Convoy. So he actually, my parents would have been born, my father was born in Kiltole Convoy, which they would have called Smiley's Brae. But where Neil was born was in Risky in Convoy, a different area. But he went to England and he got work with Lipton's Tea in England. And that's where he met Eileen then. So
She worked there too, did
she worked there too. She was a cashier. Yeah. Neil had he was one of 7 children. So there was Ellen and Catherine, Mary, Andrew, which is our grandfather, and then Maggie and Rebecca. And the funny thing about Rebecca is Rebecca's grandson, Daddy was related to Seamus Gallen. He was a full cousin, and Rebecca McNamee was his granny. So, with my mother's house and her family, 3 sisters married 3 cousins of one mother. So
That's unusual,
those
isn't
two,
it?
so those 2 men are connected in the McNamee branch. So anyway, he worked for Lipton's Tea in Silver Street in Salisbury, and that's where he met Eileen. So they were married in the Corpus Christi Roman Catholic Church in Pokestown, they call it, in Bournemouth. And that was on the 12th of January 1912. So the whole idea was going to New York. They were going to start their new life with Lupton's team. And Neil was given the manager's job for the store in Lupton in New York. So it was both their honeymoon and the start to their new life over there in America. In actual fact, Thomas Lupton himself, Sir Thomas Lupton himself, wrote the letter of introduction to the general manager in New York. And that is a photograph of the two of them, Eileen and Neil, on that.
That photograph was taken.
That would have been taken at some stage, I'm sure. Well, that was before, I don't know when, date-wise, but that would have been a very recent photograph before they would have went on that ship.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
She was very young because she was only 19, and Neil was only 27, so they were very young. Young couple. So there's a bench in Salisbury in the Churchill, Winston Churchill Gardens, in memorial for them. And then my mother then put up a memorial in the convoy graveyard for the two of them as well there.
On 100th year.
Yeah.
2012.
Oh, it's nice, yeah.
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 Daddy wanted that. Something put up because there was no chat of them. There was no chat about them much over the years.
Yeah.
There was nothing really done about them here in Ireland. So Daddy said before he passed away that he wanted to be sure that some kind of thing put up and convey to just to remember Neil and Eileen, their family, like, you know. So Mammy then turned around and she got a placard made up and put it up in the old graveyard in Convey then. On the 100th anniversary. They had a wee mass and all and a sermon about it, you know. And that was just for me the two of them, you know, in the 100th year.
Oh, nice here. Stay doing that.
Yeah. Aye, because it's to think that that was Granda's uncle, Daddy's uncle, and there was no chat of them over the years, you know. It's too bad that they had something in line, all right, but nothing back here in Ireland when a man's born in Convey, you know, so.
And a close relationship to your father?
Aye, his uncle.
Yeah.
So Daddy wanted something to perform within the 100th year, like, you know. So that's what Mammy did. Mammy went to Convey then and she got the thing put up in Convey for him.
Well, I heard about it, but I didn't think you were that close, like.
Aye. I suppose it's that long ago, you see, that we didn't know wild pile until we actually had to look into things, you know, because it's long before our time. And when I'm thinking on the year that she's after saying there now, she mentioned a year there about, was it August or something? 84? Something 84 there. I was married in September 1980, no, it was 80, that's the year was I, 81.
Friday night.
Oh, 84. 84.
Aye.
I was married then, going to be about 100 years on.
100 years ago.
From the year they were married. That's not funny.
That's when he was born.
Oh, when he was born in 84, or 1884, was it? Well, then that was 1984. I was actually married 100 years on.
That's good.
Yeah.
It wasn't planned, like.
No,
But just.
we didn't know nothing. I knew nothing about it then, like, you know.
And also, whenever I got married, we booked our wedding for the 10th of April. That was our date of anniversary, which I didn't even take into any consideration at all when I went to book it. Because from we booked the wedding was only 6 months until we got married, and we took the first date that we could get at the time. And we had to take the weekend after the bank holiday weekend that particular year. And that was in 2010. So our anniversary is the 10th of April, 2010. But I also booked a cruise for our honeymoon. And we actually went on the ship on the 15th of April, not knowing or not thinking about the history or anything that went on before it. And then I remember sitting one night and having our dinner and the piano playing and everything was beautiful. I said, imagine now if we were told to get out, and that's what it actually clicked with me.
Because it was 100. Is that 100?
Where no, of
No, more.
where I was and what I had done and what we had booked, you know, and it was all corresponding at the same time as the Titanic. So it was.
It was the same dates, you know, the same month.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. Same dates and the same months and going on a cruise.
Uh,
And they were actually going on that cruise to America as well, you see, through London, you know.
We were in Fort Lauderdale's where we were before it took off on the 15th. But
Scary.
and it was at that particular time
Yeah.
because it was just on in the moment, and it's just one of those times, you know, and things when you're in the moment that you realise what you've actually done, you know.
But you were in it before you did
No, I
realise.
was in it before even
Aye.
we were on the ship before even it was a few nights even after that,
Yeah.
you know. But it was lovely. Like the cruise ship was lovely, you know. I'd love to go on one again.
What's this
But
one? Yeah.
unfortunately, like Neil's body was never found. So, and even if it was found, it was unidentified because our family wouldn't have been able to go over at the time to identify the body.
Hmm.
So there was nobody to identify the body, even if they did find him.
Yeah.
But but her body was found. So I have the details here about even what she was wearing. That she was wearing a brown velvet coat, a white sailor blouse with a small blue anchor on the front of it. And she had a blue flannel petticoat, blue corsets, a blue skirt, trimmed with black braid, black stockings and shoes. And on her left hand she wore her wedding ring with a little turquoise and a diamond ring, while on her right wrist was a bracelet. And she carried a purse with 1 shilling and 11D, what's that?
Nice.
Pennies in it. 2 third-class tickets and a fountain pen and keys. That's what she had in her wee purse. So all of that was found on her body when they got her.
Yeah.
We
So
actually,
there was no trace of Neil at all, like, you know.
there's
No.
no word of Neil at all. No.
Did you ever hear it happen, like, you know, anything, you know, leading up to it? It was very sad, like that.
No, only what you might see on any documentaries
Right.
that where they can tell what happened at the time, but apart from that, we have no other connection with it. Really. No,
No, it's too far back, you see.
far back.
We were years on when they were long gone. So there were nobody really to tell stories, you know. Because on the McNamee side of things, a lot of daddy's people passed away and they were only in their 60s, late 50s and 60s, early 60s, most of them. So there none of them really daddies. It was 74. And the last, Mary Mac was about 91 or 92, I think. And who else? Uncle Andy managed in the 90s as well, early 90s. But the rest of them was gone in their late 50s and early 60s. So nobody really to tell the stories,
Yeah,
then, you know.
they continue.
Yeah. To continue the stories for us, or sorry, what we kind of, when you look onto, was it, or if you got that information there, I wouldn't have that back, because I wouldn't understand that, but.
So
They-
there
they're
was nobody
good.
really to pass it on, like,
No.
Not really, no.
only would you
I know that-
with yourselves.
I know that Mum and Dad and Mary and a few of them were able to go over to Salisbury at the time where they did the plaque, the unveiling of the plaque.
Yeah.
And one of the survivors was there, but I can't remember her name. And I know Mammy does have a photograph in the house somewhere, but I don't know where that is now. I haven't got that yet.
Yeah.
But I might have been about maybe 13, maybe around that. I might have been around that time.
Right.
So I can't remember exactly the date, but we could count back.
That's back a good while ago anyway,
It's a
at the
good few
time that they
years.
did that.
It's a good few years ago.
Because I was still at home then, sure, I'm long gone.
Yeah.
I was leaving nearly home when she was born. 2 years after she was born, I think I moved out of the house.
I have the list here of their, you know, where they were registered as ticket holders for the ship.
I go ahead, Rebecca, I'm reading that.
So I have
Can't
that.
really read it, because that's small.
Yeah, you can.
She's somewhere.
You need to take a photograph of it, but it lists their names as being passengers, the register for the passengers on the ship.
Right.
And then they have a register of deceased passengers as well, so they're obviously listed in that. And at the Titanic in Belfast, they have their names up on the wall of all of the people who perished on that,
Right.
you know. But they had 2,208 passengers on board. And it goes through the list of the first class, second class, and third class. So of the first class passengers, there was 324, but 201 of them were saved, and 123 were lost. And then the second class passengers, there was 284 of them, 118 were saved, and 166 were lost. And then for the third class passengers, and that's Neil and Eileen was third class passengers, that's what their tickets were. There were 709 of them. There was only 181 saved, they lost 528. So all together they lost 1,496 people, and they only got to save 212.
It's a massive size ship, obviously, wasn't it?
It was a massive ship, and they didn't have enough lifeboats for the size of the ship and for the amount of people that they had on. So they had a big crew as well. So their crew, they had 891 on their crew, and they actually lost 679. So they were only able to save 212 of them. It was a lot.
Mm.
You know, that was a lot.
It seemed a bit so much work onto that ship, like, and there was a lot of work put into it, like, you think that's one of the things that there would have been
Yeah.
the lifeboats and all.
They built her with the intention that she was unsinkable.
Yeah.
But as we all know, nothing's impossible.
Yeah.
Everything's possible, and you still always have to plan for
Yeah.
the possibility of things not going your way.
Yeah.
It was just bad management, I suppose, on their part.
Yeah.
I think the captain fell asleep on that. Some of them were supposed to be, whatever they call the wife, was looking after the ship. And the night time, you know, when they're sailing, he had fallen asleep. At the time that they've seen the iceberg,
Yeah.
it was too late to do anything, but she had the iceberg in and a bit of hole in her.
And she was the largest ship in the world, marginally larger than her own, what they call the sister ship.
Yeah.
But the captain received many warnings of the ice on the route, but he just didn't reduce the speed. So unfortunately, it was a big mistake on his part, and he
Well, he didn't reduce the speed,
he didn't reduce the speed, he kept going. So the people that were at the lookouts, they could smell the ice, they were able to do that, but it was too late, The other thing that we have here is the owner of the ship was called a J. Bruce Ismay. He was the owner. Edward John Smith was the captain. Thomas Andrews was the chief designer. And Lord Pirrie, Pirrie, he was the shipbuilder. So she was meant to go to New York, and her schedule, the Titanic schedule, took in the stops at Cherbourg in France and Queenstown in Ireland first.
Mm-hmm.
So they said that there was all ages, creeds and colour, and wealthy, middle class and the poor. And if you could walk her decks, you'd hear a dozen more languages being spoken with every imaginable dialect.
Yeah.
So there's everybody on board that ship that could be there. They have when they actually got married, the details here is that there was only 5 at the wedding, including themselves too. So they had a witness called Matilda Teresa Warham, and the other witness was the parish priest, which was Father Charles de la Pasture, was his name, and he was the original parish priest. So the priest who did the service for them was a man called Father John Clayton. So it's even though there wasn't too many of them, that I'm sure was a very big thing for them, getting married so young, heading off on their new life on this massive ship. So
They were looking forward to
and they would have been looking forward to their whole future ahead of them,
going to a new country and starting
going
out
somewhere new. And
fresh.
They going to open up a chain of supermarkets or Lipton's?
no, he was a manager. He was given the manager's job for Lipton's Tea in New York.
That's what they're going to open, chain of supermarkets now. So
So
he was actually going to work for them over there as a manager,
he
but
was, yeah, he was going to manage theirs.
all right.
Yeah. So the one man has remarked here, Father Dennis was his name, he put in a clip in a paper and he said that because Neil's body was never found, it's doubly sad because their families wouldn't have had the chance to grieve properly.
Yeah.
And Eileen's body was recovered by the McKay Bennett ship. So that's who found her in the end of it.
Mhm.
Mm. So it is an interesting story. It's a very sad story.
But was she taken back home? Rebecca was here.
So her family did get her, but they buried her back at sea. That was her wish. I suppose because of the fact that she wouldn't leave the ship.
Yeah.
She wouldn't get off. And his body was never found, so her family made the decision to bury her at sea again. Yeah, they did that.
It's very sad, but I suppose I wonder was it Lean drowned first again?
It's hard to know. His body was never found that we know of,
Yeah.
or never identified, even if it was found. So we have no
Well,
finished to our story.
our understanding would be that he would have been gone before her.
Yeah.
Because she was asking where he was and he wasn't to be got. But he was already down below.
Yeah.
Similarly, that's what my story. I heard years ago. And that she went back on to look for him. She wanted to get him again.
Hmm.
And then she died in as well. Well, she actually didn't get to see him from what the story that I heard of him anyway.
She was obviously able to.
She wasn't going to leave from the ship anyway. She was going to die down the water now, you know. But his body was never recovered to this day. Nobody ever, we never heard tell his body being recovered to this day. But Eileen's was.
She must have been able to kind of support herself on some kind of whether wreckage or something that she could have been able to hang on to, that they were able to find her. You know,
Suppose
so she wasn't sucked down along with the rest of it.
I suppose the men would have protected the women, obviously. You know.
Well, it's a funny thing because they actually have a piece there, and I didn't print it out, but the women and children came first on sea. So it wasn't always the case on land, but on sea that was women and children first. So they would have had the women and children were supposed to be taken off the ship first. The priority went to them.
Yeah.
They would have been said, and the man who owned the ship didn't go down in the water either. He didn't go down with the ship, he lived. So he got himself on one of the boats.
See, when I got into one of the other thing, when he called them, he was in the side of them anyway, because he owned the ship, so I suppose he was going to look after himself anyway. Yeah,
but it's only right the women and children. You're trying to save
Save.
Yeah.
men,
aye.
let them struggle on, you know, the best they could, like, you know.
But that's really all that we know about them. Unfortunately, there isn't much more information there, because you don't have survivors now. I think the last of the survivors only died last year or the year before, but I can't remember their name now. And I can't remember the name of that woman. She was a baby, very young at the time, and she was rescued. So she was there in Salisbury, but just can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Some stage maybe I'll find the photograph somewhere and I'll be able to give it to you again then.
Well, it's a lovely story, but very, very sad.
But
And you know, even though it's over 100 years ago now, for us and the family, it's not that far back.
Yeah.
Because we're only talking about our granddad's brother.
Yeah.
You know, that's not far back in generations. You're not going back to the great generation.
No, you're
You know,
not.
it's very, very close.
Yeah.
So he was still only a granduncle.
Yeah.
Really. There was 5 couples actually. that was on their honeymoon on the ship.
Was there?
5 couples altogether. They had one here where they took it was I forget the name for it, but you know, a recollection, somebody that had been on the ship that was saved.
Right.
And they said that one young couple walked steadily up and down the boat throughout pretty well the whole of the proceedings, and once or twice the young chap asked if he could help. He was tall, clean-bred, Britisher is how they described this person.
Right.
On his honeymoon, I should say the girl, she was little more than a girl, that's what they mean, never made the slightest attempt to come towards the boats, much less be taken on board, although I looked towards her several times with a look of silent invitation, but no, she was not going to be parted from her man.
She didn't want to leave.
So some one of those couples, there's no telling which one it was, but some one of the couples that had been seen going up and down past the whole time throughout the whole lot, and the girl was never going to leave. No.
Yeah, the photograph of Lupton's there too. There,
I have photographs of
where
it.
he walked, where he the boat walked.
Even just you can see the family resemblance and Neil, which is strange. I have brothers that I see like them and Eunan doesn't, but I do. I can see the resemblance of 2 of our boys and him. When I look at him, I can say he's a McNamee.
Yeah.
Even though the other man here would be different in his looks.
Yeah.
And they were brothers.
Mm.
But there's a big resemblance in the McNamees there in that man in our house.
Yeah.
With
That's
2
your
of
own.
the
That's your own
two
timber.
boys. With my brothers.
Andy,
My brothers.
Andy and Seamus.
Andy and Seamus, I see like him when they would have been younger, especially when they were younger.
Aye.
Aye. But that was Eileen, I mean, she was very young.
19.
She was only 19. And he was 27.
What a young couple, imagine going away just to start life.
This would be Neil himself, the man that went down the Titanic. They'd be Daddy's uncle.
The 2 from Lipton's Tea, gather round, my friends, as the sad tale I shall relate of a young man from Donegal and how he met his fate. He hailed from Ruski, Castlefin, young Neil McNamee. He went to England to take up a job, working for Lipton's Tea. At Lipton's in Old Salisbury town, at number 41 Silver Street, a young cashier called Eileen O'Leary he happened there to meet. Both working together now as Cupid cast a spell, and young O'Leary and young McNamee deeply in love now fell. On the 12th of January 1912, in the church of Corpus Christi, young Eileen O'Leary now became Mrs. Eileen McNamee. This young Donegal man didn't go unnoticed, working at Lipton's Tea. Soon an offering was offered to him from far across the sea. Sir Thomas Lipton himself sent a letter praising this young man from Castlefin, as a new life for the newlyweds in America soon for them would begin. From the port of Southampton on the 10th of April 1912 they set sail on the world's finest ocean liner, the one they said would never fail. Her name it was Titanic, a floating palace on the wave, but she soon would become more famous as the world's deepest grave. On the 15th of April, as she steamed through the night, she struck a large iceberg, mostly hidden out of sight. The unsinkable was holed, and with an hours would lay beneath the sea. 1,500 souls died that night, including 2 from Lipton's Tea. Eileen's body was recovered, but young Neil was never found. The humble boy from Castlefin still lays where he was drowned. Though their bodies lay so far apart, I believe they are together still. They refused to leave each other's sides. The vow to death do us part they did fulfil. So next time you think on the ship and the grave beneath the sea, remember the lovers who died that night and the 2 from Lipton's Tea. A plaque and memorial in Salisbury and the memory does stand, but we have nothing here in Donegal to remember Castlefin's Titanic man. A simple plaque in Donegal near Neil's old homestead to honour the souls who perished, Titanic's forgotten dead.